What is up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back and welcome into the Seattle Mariners post-game recap. The Mariners dropped this one tonight to the Blue Jays 5-2. They fall to 4-7 on the young season, and I am going to break it all down for you guys. Do me a favor, as always, hit that like button. Helps out the channel tremendously. And if you are new here, hit that subscribe button. I'm just 65 subscribers away from my next big goal of 3,000 subs. Thank you guys so much for all the support, the likes, the comments. Truly appreciate your guys' support for my channel. And I will be here for all 162, whether they're 80 and 40 or 40 and 80. I will be here to help get you guys through it. We can cry together or celebrate together, whatever needs to be done as this season goes along. I'm going to sound like a broken record. It's going to happen when I do, nightly recap videos for this team. Frustrated. Yeah, still frustrated. 4-7, not where I wanted this team to be. Also not going to panic 11 games into a season. I'm just not. I'm not going to throw in a towel. I don't think this team is a bad baseball team. I think they're in a rough stretch. It's unfortunate it's happening early in the season. Do I know for a fact they're going to pull out of it? No, I don't. I think they are. I think there's enough good players on this baseball team that they will come out of this a little bit. And while 4-7 certainly not good, it's not a buried status either. You're still that 3-4 game winning streak from being back at 500 or a little bit above, but you also can't let this spiral. You are getting to that point, again, not panic mode, but losses keep piling up, and 4-8, 4-9, 4-10, 4-11. I don't think it'll get that bad, but where you then do need that kind of bigger winning streak to pull out of this. So like I said, I still think this is a good baseball team. I still think they'll pull together. There's too many good players that are just not playing good right now. And it's not like unproven players either. Now, sometimes proven guys don't have good years. It may very well happen. I can't guarantee anything for you. But there's too many good players underperforming right now, in my opinion. So I do think they'll get it pulled together. It'd be great if this team could get off to a better start than they have in the past, and not need, major winning streaks in the middle of the year or anything. That's kind of, I think, what we're all hoping for. But they're not there yet either. Listen, they are not at a point where they still just need to focus on winning series. And as much as tonight stunk, they can still win this series. And that's a step in the right direction. It's something they haven't done this year. Then Cubs come in town, you can win another series and you're back to 500 and boom. And we're still only 16 games into this season. So, focus still needs to just be one game at a time and try to find a way to win this series if you're the Seattle Mariners. I saw a tweet tonight from Colby from Locked On Mariners, and he made a good point. He's talking about how, the 2019 Nationals were 12 games under 500, 50 games into the year. The Braves in 2021, 2 games under 500. The Phillies last year, who went to the NLCS, were 5 games under 500, 50 games. I think the Phillies the year before were in the same boat. They're like 8 games under 500. And they ended up in the World Series. Even the Mariners last year, I know they didn't get to the playoffs, so probably not the best example, but they were, scuffling under 500 for a bit as well. So listen, that doesn't mean you want to get off to a bad start. I certainly don't want this team to be 19-31 and be sitting here going, well, the Nationals in 2019 did it, and that wasn't Colby's point. But teams do start out slow. It does happen. I don't want it to happen. I want this team to be good all the way through. But there's going to be stretches where you just don't play your best baseball. It's unfortunate that it's been the first 11 games for this team. But I do think better baseball is ahead. Let's look at real quick. I want to pull up the Baseball Savant page for this game. And this is not to make excuses by any means, but I did think the Mariners were a little bit unlucky tonight. Now, I want to be clear on something before I pull up the Savant page. When I say unlucky, I do not mean unlucky does not mean they should have won the game or that they're unlucky, therefore they've played great baseball. They have not. They have not played good through 11 games. When a team is really good or playing good ball and I say, hey, they've been a little lucky, that's not implying that they're bad. The A's last year probably did have some bad luck and stuff like that. Bad teams, normally do. No team is that bad. You know what I mean? And some teams, if you win 105, 106 games, usually aren't that good. There's going to be some good luck involved. As well. So let's pull up the Savant page here. But I just want to make that clear. I'm not trying to claim that, the Mariners should have beaten the Blue Jays today and Savant knows all and that's that. But I do want to just look at this just to give an idea of kind of, what happened today from the Mariners game. You look at the top exit velos for this game. 4 of the top 5 were from the Mariners. Julio, then he had Bo Bichette's double. Julio again. The first one was that line drive he had in the first inning. I think the second one was a grounder he had, Canzone. I'm assuming that was one of his base hits. And then Ty France, I think, again, had a hit on a 107 mile per hour exit velo. Top distances, he had JP, Bichette, Julio, Rojas, Cal, all Mariners. Kiermaier caught Rojas's in center field, and then Cal's and JP's were home runs. And Julio was that fly out he had in the 8th inning. If we look at expected batting average, Mariners 312, Jays 289. That's pretty even. But my point is just that I don't think they played terrible necessarily. I'll talk about Luis Castillo in a minute before anybody's going, off on that. But sometimes baseball can be a fluky sport. Sometimes things can happen. Now, again, I still time, like with Savant, Fangraphs, I use this data. It is not the end all be all. Baseball is not won through who had the better exit velos. So before anybody, comes and goes, well, that stuff doesn't matter because that's not how you win games. I agree. Like at the end of the day, it does not matter who has the highest exit velos. It matters who put the most runs on the table. That was the Toronto Blue Jays tonight. They absolutely deserve the win. But the harder you hit a ball, the more likely it's going to fall in for a hit and stuff like that. The better at-bats you have, the more likely you're going to produce runs and everything. So it's not to say that the Mariners, they should have won this game and screw it, baseball stinks and it's all bad luck and this team should be 11-0. Not what I'm saying. But it does show that maybe, at least today, some of the underlying numbers weren't that bad. They did hit the ball hard at times. They probably should have had a couple more runs. Cal was robbed of a base hit in that inning where the Mariners stranded a couple runners because then Ty had a hit. Canzone had a hit where Ty should have been out at third. Rojas struck out and JP grounded out. Now, that inning is actually kind of a perfect microcosm of it, right? Like Cal was robbed of a hit on that one by who was playing second base for the Jays today? Was it Biggio? Let me pull up on my phone here. Sorry, guys. Give me just a second. It was second base. Kevin Biggio robbed Calrani. I think it was in the 4th or 5th inning. I don't remember. Ty had the hit. Canzone moves him second to third. Rojas strikes out. JP grounds out. I know I already said that, but just wanted to reiterate it. If that ball gets through for Cal, you might have first and third. Canzone brings them home 4-1. Second and third, nobody out. That's a little bit unlucky. Josh Rojas, though, has a terrible at bat, and it leads to. Sorry about that, guys. I had to pause the video for a minute. The computer had messages popping up on it galore. I think someone's phone's connected to it, so it's just dinging at me like crazy. But anyways, they have the hits. They should have had the hits. The Cal should have had a base hit. France and Canzone have the hits, and you got to run on the board. But Cal's is taken away by Biggio, makes a great play, a little bit unlucky. Then Rojas and JP have really bad at-bats, and you can't capitalize on second and third with one out. So just kind of that microcosm. Yeah, there's some bad luck in there, but there's also bad baseball, being played by this team as well. And when you combine bad baseball with bad luck, you get a team that's, under 500 to start the year, and truthfully is probably overall a little lucky to be 4-7 at this point. So just trying to, show that data. Again, I don't think it's the end all be all of things. And I'm not showing that to just say, oh, the Mariners were fine tonight and there was no problems. They were not, but they did have some hard hit balls that probably should have resulted in some hits. Now, I will say this. A lot of those balls with the high exit velos are being hit on the ground. Now, Julio's 114 was elevated, but Mitch Garver had one that was in the top 5 for most of the game. It dropped off. It was a grounder. They've got to start lifting the ball a little bit too. The more you pound the ball into the ground, the less likely it's going to be a hit for the club. So that's another thing too. We talked about with Julio, he's hit the ball hard, but he's not elevated it yet. Did a little bit better today. Had 2 flyouts. One was stung in the first inning and the other in the 8th that Dave Sims thought was going to leave the ballpark. So, but you got to elevate the ball. That's the other thing there, as well. So it matters. It's certainly something that, like I said, the harder you hit the ball, the better off you're going to be. And the Mariners probably, in an alternate universe, play that same game, and we're probably in extra innings tied at 4 or something like that. But unfortunately, they're compounding that with bad mistakes. And let's start with one of the guys that just did not perform tonight, and that's Luis Castillo. I'm on the Blue Jays box score. Let's go back over to the Mariners. 5 innings, 9 hits, 4 runs, 4 and 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. Couple things with Luis Castillo is he's now rolled out his third start of the year that has been just like this. This has kind of been Luis Castillo's MO this year, unfortunately. 6 strikeouts, 1 walk is good. Here's the problem, though, that I'm at least seeing with Castillo, and you guys can let me know in the comments down below. He's throwing strikes, but he's not hitting his spots. He's the command, or I guess that would be control, or is that command? I think the command has not been good. He's in the strike zone, so that's why, the walks aren't piling up, but his fastball is just all over the place. He doesn't seem to have a good feel for the changeup, yet either he throws a couple good ones, but you just don't see it a lot. And he's also struggling pitching from the stretch as well. Vlad Guerrero had that little infield hit, and there were some bloopers in that inning for the Jays where they scored, I think the 2 runs. I think that was the bottom of the third. And David Schneider had one where he just got the bat on the ball and it blooped in along with Vlad's infield hit. That's unfortunate, but there was a walk in the middle there. Bichette had a double, and just not finding his spot. He's finding the strike zone, but he's not hitting his target, speaking for Luis Castillo. And then when he gets in the stretch, it's even worse, and he just seems all over the place. Do I know what the fix of that is? Absolutely not. If I did, I wouldn't be talking to you guys in this room right now. I'd be, up talking to Jerry DePoto and Scott Service somewhere. But, again, broken record, I think Castillo will be fine. He's too good of a pitcher, I think, to just not be good anymore by any, I don't think he's just fallen off the planet here or anything. The velocity, looks a little lower, but not enough where I think there's an injury or anything. He's just not hitting his spots, and then when a runner gets on, he's having trouble from the stretch. He looks all right when he's pitching from the windup, and, for the most part, avoided anything major when he was pitching from the windup, but didn't give up a home run. At least that's good. But everything else is just, it's been a struggle, and it goes back to a little bit of last year. At the end of the year, Castillo was not super sharp. There were some good starts that he mixed in there. And I'm not going to call 2023 Luis Castillo bad by any means. He had a great season, and 2 starts at the end of the year should not undo the good deeds. But, we're on 5 straight starts now where Castillo has just not been very good. There's good stuff. He's certainly capable. Like, I think if they face the A's tomorrow or tonight, he probably gets through 6 innings here and pitches well. And I think Castillo will be fine. Listen, you kind of have to think that, right? Like, I've talked about with the offense. If Julio's not good this year, it doesn't matter. And Castillo's kind of in the same boat. I mean, I think you have with Logan and Kirby, if you can get Wu back and Miller looks like maybe he's taking a step forward, you could survive with Castillo being, a number 3. But if Castillo's not good, then it's going to be a long year. So you just kind of have to hope he finds it. I know I'm a broken record. 3 starts is still a pretty small sample size of starts. Every pitcher is going to have 3 starts where they don't look their best. I don't like that it's been the first 3 starts of the season. And I said the strikeouts to walk ratio is fine, but again, it's not the walks necessarily. He's not giving up free passes because he is throwing strikes, but I just don't think he's hitting his location at all. And that's the thing. If you can be off and still in the zone, and that's kind of what he's been effectively wild inside the strike zone, but missing spots, and guys are able to get hits on him. And I just don't see the faith in the changeup that he's had in the past. And there might be, again, once we get to the end of the month, I'll pull up some more data and look at how all these pitches, how often they're throwing them, how hard they're getting hit. We'll kind of do a monthly show where we really dive into that. I'm just not going to pull it up right now. It's too much. I don't even know if the data is available, 3 starts into a season. A guy you expect to throw 200 innings, we're talking about 15 innings of work here. So do I think we should panic on Castillo? No, I don't. I don't see anything that makes me think he's not good, but I shouldn't. I mean, I see things that aren't good, but I still think Castillo should be able to get this together. I mean, you kind of have to hope he does. There's really no other way. There's no other option. Castillo's got to be good for this team to have success. So again, kind of a microcosm of the Mariners. Frustrating. Yeah, really frustrating. Luis Castillo sits there at 0-3. Your ace of your staff, someone that you turn to, the veteran, the leader, to get this team out of funks. Today was a great example where you get that dominant La Piedra start. You got the fist pump going on the mound, 6 shutout innings, get the win, and the good vibes are back. You know what I mean? You feel good. Okay, we're 5-6. We turned it over to our ace. He got it done. Now we have Kirby and Gilbert to hopefully keep this going. Mariners have also now lost 4 straight starts by Castillo, Kirby, and Gilbert. 2 from Castillo. We'll see how Kirby does tomorrow. But that just can't happen. You've got to win when those guys are on the mound. Now, Logan didn't win his first start of the year against Boston. The team won. That wasn't Logan's fault. He was phenomenal. But tonight is a little bit on Castillo. The offense didn't put up enough runs, obviously, either. But tonight's on Luis. He struggled. He was not good, and it put the offense behind the 8 ball, and it is a reason they lost. Not the only reason, but this was not like Castillo went 7 innings, 1 earned run, and the team didn't score or anything like that. Castillo was one of the guys that contributed to this loss tonight. So not much else to say. Got to be better. Absolutely need it for the Mariners. Tyson Miller made his Mariners debut. 2 innings pitched, no hits, no runs, no walks, 2 Ks. One of them was a gift from CB Buckner on the strikeout. Not complaining. We'll take it. CB may have suffered a concussion in the first inning. And obviously, I'm not trying to laugh at that. I hope CB Buckner was okay. Took one off the masks. I would say the difference between Angel Hernandez and CB Buckner is this. They're both bad umpires. Angel Hernandez is kind of a prick. CB Buckner, by all accounts, is not. He's a pretty nice guy, at least from what I've heard and read, that guys do like CB Buckner. He's just not a very good ump. Angel Hernandez is just, he's kind of a prick and not a good ump, which is even worse of a combination. So, and I don't know if getting hit there really changed much. I think Buckner has been bad, concussed or unconcussed. And again, that's just tongue in cheek. I do hope Buckner's okay. Anyways, thought Tyson Miller looked good. Couple roster moves today that I should have mentioned early on. Colin Snyder and Cody Bolton both on the injured list. Snyder took that one yesterday off his knee. Listen, I don't know how long he's going to be out, but if he was going to be out for this series, you had to do it. You had to make a roster move. And Cody Bolton with kidney stones, praying for him because that is awful. It's something he'll recover from, but that is not fun to go through at all. So hopefully Cody Bolton can get through that and get back on the mound here. But Tyson Miller and Brent DeGus both pitched today, both up at the club. We'll see if they stick. I think Tyson Miller has a shot. Couch GM talked about him kind of being a sleeper to maybe make this roster, kind of equated him to Paul Sewald. I've heard a few Mariners people do that. You can see it, kind of that same sidearm delivery a little bit, I guess you call it. So I was definitely impressed with Tyson Miller. In the bullpen, it hasn't been relied upon too much because the Mariners haven't been in a position to put games away, but they need all the help they can get until Brash and Santos, are back there for the Mariners. So good to see Tyson Miller pitch well. Ty France obviously also back, and Samad Taylor goes to AAA. I thought maybe, Canzone or Luke Raley. Here's the thing. Luke Raley doesn't have options, so you can't send him down. And Canzone had 2 hits yesterday, including a home run. So I wouldn't mind having a right-handed bat in there, just to kind of Canzone and Raley just seem they're too similar. Canzone's swung the better bat, but Raley just not getting consistent playing time. You'd like one of them to kind of get everyday at bats because it's just it's a weird construction because they're not platooning Haniger, which is fine. Haniger's been one of their better hitters so far. But I kind of thought Haniger would get some more days off against righties and we'd see more Raley and Canzone in the outfield together. They've elected to go with Mitch, which again, fine. Haniger's been one of their better hitters so far this year, but that's not here or there. But Ty France back. And then Brent DeGus, the stuff looked good. He topped out in the high 90s. The splitter looked good. He did give up the run. He had a balk. He hit a batter, so maybe a little bit of nerves there, but I thought the stuff looked pretty good for him. So we'll see if these guys can help. Every year there's a couple guys that come up a few weeks into the year. We've seen it with Justin Topa. We've seen it with Penn Murphy in the past. We've seen it with Taylor Saucedo, Gabe Spire, Matt Festa, whoever you want to lean on there. We've seen it with a lot of these guys before. So you never know. You can find some diamonds in the rough in the bullpen. And again, it hasn't been an issue yet because they just haven't been positioned to close out a lot of games. But this bullpen can use the help right now for sure. Let's look at the offense. Already pulled up Savant a little bit. Some hard hit balls, expected batting average over 300, but the actual numbers were 7 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 10 more strikeouts. at the end of the day, you are what you are what you are. And the expected numbers can be great, but if it doesn't lead to results, it's just ultimately not going to matter. JP 1 for 4 at the home run. Good to see the home run from JP. Really been scuffling, just pounding everything to the ground and kind of rolling over everything. So good to see him get the home run. Julio is 0 for 4. He did have some really hard hit balls. A line drive in the first inning. I thought he had a home run in the 8th inning, would have been his first of the year. But, Julio continues to scuffle here a bit early. Jorge Polanco was 0 for 2, did walk twice. Really good at bat in the first walk. I mean, both at bats good, but the first one especially I thought was a really nice at bat. Mitch is 0 for 4. Mitch Haniger's been all right so far. Mitch Garver, would love to see him get going. Cal Raleigh 1 for 4. Cal with his first home run of the year in Toronto, of course, where Cal just seems to dominate no matter what. So good to see JP and Cal Raleigh going deep. It'd be nice to have a couple guys on base for those, but we'll take it. Good to see the power stroke for those guys. Ty France 3 for 4. If I had to take my biggest positive away from this game, it would be Ty France. And also, like I said, congratulations on the new baby to him and his wife. So the dad strength coming through for Ty, but maybe Driveline working its magic again. Really, really encouraging to see from Ty France, because it's tough to notice now because the team's scuffling, but man, a healthy Ty France, doing what he's done so far this year, going to go a long way for this ball club. It's going to help them tremendously. That was one of the keys, was getting that little bounce back from Ty. And so far, they've actually got it. Unfortunately, everybody else is hitting about what I would hit if I was out there as a major leaguer. Dom Canzone 2 for 4 with a double and a single. So Canzone's back, coming alive. Still kind of looks helpless against breaking pitches, but he did hit the slider out yesterday. I know it was against a reliever that had thrown 40-something pitches, but listen, that, sometimes that's when you get your numbers, right? You chase a starter, then you beat up on a bullpen and stuff like that. So I'm not going to complain. Good to see a couple hits from Canzone. Rojas 0 for 4, did have that one fly ball, which is fairly deep, but a pretty rough game. He had that strikeout where runners are at second and third and one out. Maybe if you can get something there, a sac fly, you chip away a little bit, and then he strikes out to end the game on ball 4, which would have at least allowed JP to come up as the tying run with Julio on deck. It would have been nice to at least have JP get a shot there to see if he could do something. But unfortunately, Rojas swung a ball 4, and, nothing you can do about that. Mariners dropped this one. Broken record for me, but, frustrated, yes. Panic, no. That's about all I can say. If you guys are wondering when I would start panicking, if you're new here, I've said it before, but I give it about a month. Then we'll look at the data, look at the records, see where they are. Again, if 4-7 becomes 4-15 and we're still in April, I'm not going to be like, well, I'm not panicking. Excuse me, it's still April. That's something that you'd have to look at and go, okay, clearly something is not working here. And now they've dug themselves a huge hole. The Marlins, I don't know if they're 0-10 or if they won today or not. That's something I'd be worried about, right? That's a substantial hole. We'd have to start having a conversation. 4-7 is not there yet for me. But each loss that happens starts getting a little bit closer to, okay, when are these going to get to start turning into wins? Listen, George Kirby goes tomorrow. Logan Gilbert goes on Wednesday. Still have a chance to win this series. And that's all you can ask for is winning series. And that is still very, very much on the table for the Mariners here in Toronto. Drop this one, but bounce back tomorrow, get the win, and set yourself up for Logan on Wednesday, and we'll be feeling all right. We won't, 6-7's not where we want the team, but it's the best outcome right now at 4-7. So, hopefully they can do that. I think they can. Baseball's weird. I said it yesterday. Jay, do you think this team's going to sweep the Jays? Probably not, but do they look like they're going to win 2 out of 3 right now? Probably not, but baseball's weird, and you're as good as your next day starting pitcher, and they've got a pretty good one going tomorrow in George Kirby. So let's see if Kirby can get on the bump, get them back to the winning ways here, and maybe start a little something for this team as well. So that's all I've got. Real quick, I do want to once a week shout out my channel members. So if my post game's over, if you guys want to click off the video, you're more than welcome to. Didn't get a chance to do the member stream today. It's going to be tomorrow. So if you are one of my channel members, check the community tabs. The contest details are there. I want to give away the New Era hat for you guys, but someone's got to answer the tab too. But quick shout out to my channel members: Mariners Facts, who just joined last week. Thank you, my friend. Trevor Hiddle, who's been a loyal follower from the beginning. Thank you so much, Trevor. William Cook, another super loyal follower, one of my originals. Mr. Moses, and then, of course, Gunny Studios. Thank you guys so much for being channel members. Hope to see you guys tomorrow in the member stream. If you're not a member, think about joining once a month or hopefully twice a month. Members only live streams once a month with contest giveaways and a chance to have more one-on-one conversations as well. Also, don't be afraid to use my promo code JS Trident on SeatGeek for $20 off your next purchase if you are going to the Mariners game. Of course, Mariners got to win for you to want to go to the game. So hopefully they can turn it around and make that a little bit more fun to go watch this team play. I do think they will turn it around. Let's hope it starts tomorrow. Have a great night, everybody, and go Mariners. Peace.